rebelradio.com. Joined on the phone line from Nolans, my good friend Kyle Thomas, lead singer from Trouble. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, Scott. How you been? Long time no see.
Yeah, definitely. Been too long.
Yes, sir.
I just got this release about a week ago. Holy shit. Song 1 through 13 kicks ass. I must say, great job on the vocals, Kyle. I'm very happy with what I hear. Unbelievable. It's a great album. It's called The Distortion Field. And, of course, for those who don't know, you were in Trouble years ago. I remember seeing you at the Expo the Extreme at the Congress Theater in Chicago, and you kicked ass. What happened? Let's go back some years. What happened back then? Were you not wanting to tour? Or?
No, actually, if I remember correctly, not long after we did the Expo of the Extreme, we had so much fun doing it, and obviously it was a complete honor for me to be even in the same room as those guys, much less to have been able to perform the songs live. It was discussed that they had new material in the makings for, I think it was stuff that they had originally started working on with Eric Wagner after Plastic Greenhead, and then they had disbanded at whatever point. So they I guess, dusted off some of that older stuff and submitted some of it to me, and they said, "Let's see what you can do with it." So I started working on some of it, and not long after that, it turns out that I'm not sure whoever it was that they were talking to label-wise really was interested in doing a record with them, but only if Eric was involved. So I guess over time it just got to a point where they smooth things over. Believe me, as a member of former bands and such, it's just the way it goes. There's usually more water under the bridge than you ever want there to be. But they ended up doing Simple Mind Condition, and a lot of the songs that they had given me to work on ended up on there. Although nothing that I wrote ended up on that album. That was all their stuff, Mm-hmm. But it was the music that they had given to me, and I had fallen in love with the material at the time, of course, because A, it's Trouble, and B, it was just good. So they continued on in that respect, and I guess fast forward to more recently when I got the call that they were interested in working with me on what now has become the Distortion Field. The question did come up to me, why didn't you guys call me after y'all parted ways with Eric again originally, and they just, at the time I had been really busy with Alabama Thunder Pussy. Yep. And the explanation that I got was that we were doing so well, getting a lot of good press, and getting on MTV and such, that they felt like it would be taking away from what I was doing at the time if they pulled me in that direction, which I respected the fact that they honored what I was doing with the band, but good Lord, I would have been happy to both projects, I can promise you.
Oh, yeah. Now, of course, you played Ex-Hoarder.
Correct, yeah.
Alabama Thunder Pussy. Floodgate.
Yes.
3 awesome bands. What's the other one? Preps First.
It's versus Preps. That's actually an inside joke about in the 80s, preppy kids used to call us Pits.
Yeah.
The headbangers. For whatever reason, we were Pits. So that became the name of that band. That's actually a really awesome band. In fact, Brian Cox from Alabama Thunder Pussy plays drums in that project, and some of the guys from Clear Light and other bands that were veterans of the New Orleans scene. It's awesome stuff. It's like old school Iron Maiden, Judas Priest with a hint of hardcore and just, I guess, more of a modern approach. But man, that band swings, man. That's some really, really good stuff. I really hope to God one day that I can get that project out a little bit more than we have, because because it's really good. It's one of my best projects I got out there, I can promise you.
Cool. Now, what am I missing? I mentioned 4 bands there. What other bands have you sang with?
Well, I had a band called Jones's Lounge.
Okay.
And it was a project I did with a guy I went to high school with named Dax Steeler. And Jimmy Bauer played drums on that album.
Cool.
And it's really a great album. It was actually engineered by Dave Fortman, who played in Ugly Kid Joe and was a producer on like the early Evanescence stuff, discovered the band 12 Stones and such. Dave's, not only a great musician, but a recording genius. And he and Dax had done these sessions with Jimmy, and they brought it to me, and I was like, wow, it's really, really good. So it's out there. It's never been released officially. We did it on our own. We pretty much printed up our own and sold, between 500 and 1,000 copies on our own and just had a blast with it. But I would really like to get that one released, too. I've had people tell me that that's the best thing I've ever done, so you just never know.
Wow. This is Rebel Radio. I'm Scott Davidson, joined by the one and only Kyle Thomas, lead singer for Trouble. The new CD is called The Distortion Field. It hits stores July 16th in the United States, and I know a lot of people who cannot wait for that date. You could pre-order it through Amazon.com, and from what I hear, there's a lot of pre-orders already, so that's awesome. So things are looking very good in the Trouble camp these days, and I can't wait to see you guys live. There's going to be a video for this release as well, right, Kyle?
As far as I know, we're supposed to be possibly traveling overseas to go film a concert. I don't know if that's for the video shoot, but I do understand, and you may know more than I do. It's not uncommon with my lifestyle, being a family man and working man, to be out of the loop from time to time, but for the most part, I'm under the impression that, yes, we will be doing 1, maybe 2 video shoots, and hopefully sooner than later.
Sounds good. The new release is a new label, FRW Music, and we look forward to working with that label and the new CD, the Distortion Field. We're going to play a song a little bit, so if you're listening right now and you know any Trouble fans out there, this is a worldwide debut of the new Trouble, so tell your friends to tune in. The new song will be coming up in a few minutes. It's rebelradio.com. Click on Rebel Radio Streaming. Listen now, and you got us live all across the whole world. And Kyle, you've called in before for Floodgate and other bands as well, so thanks for supporting Rebel Radio all these years, by the way.
Absolutely. You've done nothing but support me, so I'm more than happy to pay it forward and do whatever I can to spread the word for you guys.
Excellent. There's 13 new songs on here. When the Sky Comes Down was probably one of my favorites. Paranoia, Conspiracy, The Broken Have Spoken. Do you have a favorite yet, Kyle, or does it change every day? They're all a part of me in some way. I tend to wear my life on my sleeve, and 2 of the songs, actually, Bruce wrote either all of or most of the lyrics to, which was One Life and Sucker. I collaborated with him on Sucker, but One Life lyrically is all his, and it's a very personal experience for him. So he writes as I do lyrically. Not everything I write is fact. There are some songs in there that are more fantasy laden, like The Graying Chill of Autumn and The Broken Have Spoken. Those songs are not quite so factual, but to me, the beauty of lyrics and songwriting, as well as poetry and novels and what have you, it's so interpretive. It just depends on what does it mean to the listener. It means something to me because I live it. But what does it make you feel? How does it relate to your life? For instance, I had a girl email me one time about a song that I did with Jones's Lounge, and she said, that album got me through one of the toughest parts of my life. And I was like, well, good, because it got me through one of the toughest parts of my life, too. So, my trials and tribulations affected her, and she was able to use it to better herself, and
I guess that's a good thing. Music doesn't always have to just be partying and chicks, and at the same time, it doesn't always have to be that deep, dark meaning of life, and how are we going to change the world? It doesn't always have to be that. Politics, there's a tiny splash of it on this one. I try not to get too into it because I just don't follow it the way everybody else does. I tend to not trust anybody, so I'm not a big fan of politics. But it's reality, and it's there. We gotta live it.
Now you're calling from Nolens, of course, tonight, right?
Yes, I'm in the lovely suburbs of Metairie, Louisiana here.
How's the weather out there?
Warm and sporadically raining. That's just kind of what we do around here.
Cool. I can't forget to answer this question. I was watching a show called True Blood, and one of the main characters, Suki's brother, is wearing an Alabama Thunder Pussy shirt. Did you know that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, right before that show debuted, we actually got word from we were on tour, and we found out from the publicist that was going to happen.
Cool.
And, things were really going great at that time. We had just found out we were going to be reviewing Rolling Stone. We had just found out that we're going to be on the Headbangers Ball on MTV2, and we were sandwiched between Black Sabbath and Kiss, my two favorite bands, so it was like our video was right in the middle of those. It seemed like everything was just falling in the right places at the time. That TV show coming out with a guy wearing our T-shirt. It's humbling, and it makes you proud, and it lets you know that those days where you're slinging your guts around trying to make a name for yourself and pay it the hard way, when you come home with empty pockets and not much to show for it, at least you got that,
Yep. This is RebelRadio.com. Scott Davidson, joined by lead singer Kyle Thomas from the band Trouble. And when you're writing music, say, for example, Ex-Hoarder or Floodgate, how does it differ writing with those bands than it does with Trouble?
Well, the thing I like of Trouble songwriting is very similar to actually my Pitts vs. Press songwriting. I have a guy, Jason Portera, that plays with me in Pitts vs. Press. It's really his brainchild. He writes lyrics. No, I shouldn't say he writes lyrics. He writes patterns and helps me out with it, especially if I get into a rut and I get stuck on an idea and I can't get out of it. He turns it around and plays it on the guitar for me and helps me come up with something else. So the songs that I write with that band sound very different because I'm writing with that guy who's not in these other bands. And it's kind of the same way with Trouble. Bruce came down to work with me for a few days while I was at the very end of my sessions, and he had a lot of ideas, and he actually was able to, he's got a very keen ear for pitch and such, and I've always prided myself on being a guy that doesn't have pitch problems. And he pointed out some stuff, and he's like, man, that it's good, but it could be a little better. You're a little flat here, you're a little sharp. I'm sitting there going, man, he's right. But, the guy's right. So,
Bruce is always on.
And he's just an impeccable musician,
yep.
And, he understands production. Usually, I've been the guy in my bands that's, especially in my later years, especially with Floodgate and the other bands, that's more of a producing ear, as well as a writer. I get into the production aspect of it, and it's nice to work with guys that are, I would say, probably out of my league in that capacity, and I'm sure that's from having worked with such great guys like Bill Matoyer and Rick Rubin and such. So, I try to learn as much as I can. The day I think I've got it all is the day I might as well hang it up because, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know jack, and there's plenty for me to learn. So I just keep trying to pick up any tricks that I can over the years.
I love how much you put of the passion and emotion in the vocals on this new CD, the Distortion Field. Awesome from start to last. We're going to play a song, worldwide debut of New Trouble. It's called When the Sky Comes Down, the first single from the new CD. What's it about, Kyle?
This is, the good thing about this one is when I first heard it, it made me think of old school Trouble right off the bat.
Me too.
It's heavy, it's got guitar harmonies, so my first instinct was I just fell right in. I felt like my vocal patterns that I was coming up with were right in line with what Trouble should be.
Yep.
And lyrically, I was like, somehow Bastards came to mind, and I just kind of played off of maybe almost like a part two of Bastards Will Pay, not musically so much, but in the political war type of thing. All those dive bombs that happen throughout the song, it makes me think of like an air attack.
Yeah.
And the warfare that our grandparents grew up with was bombs and ground fighting more than, there was air fighting, yes, but now our big fear is jet fighting and nuclear bombs, and it just made me think of a World War III type situation, and all the wars that we've been living through in the past 10, 20 years. So yeah, it's kind of a play on Bastards Will Pay in that regard, where I did use the word bastards, and that's what I was referring to.
Cool.
So yeah, I did my best to try and put my own spin on things, but to keep it in line with Trouble.
You definitely did. And the beginning reminds me of a little bit of R.I.P. from the Trouble album,
I could see that because it's that heavy...
The heavy doomy. I love it.
Yeah. But, it's got these classic guitar harmonies throughout it that are just signature Trouble. And to me, it encompasses just about... This song in particular encompasses the entire spectrum of the Trouble discography. If you ask me, it sounds in some ways like the old albums, in some ways like the later, Rick Rubin albums. So I would hope that this is a great signature representation of what Trouble is in this new era with me involved. And all I can say is I hope everyone likes it, and if you don't, I understand.
I love it. I love it so far, and I'm sure all the Trouble fans are going to love it too. We were only planning on playing one song, and then Rick Wartell texted me and said play a couple more. So you got time to stick around, or you got to fly?
No, I'm here, man.
Excellent. Okay, be right back with Kyle Thomas. Here is the worldwide debut of the new Trouble. The new CD is called The Distortion Field. Due out in stores on July 16th in the United States. This song here is called When the Sky Comes Down. It's Trouble on rebelradio.com. RebelRadio.com, worldwide debut of the new Trouble, the first single, When the Sky Comes Down. I'm Scott Davidson, live on the phone line. Kyle Thomas, lead vocals. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
That sounds killer. Great song, When the Sky Comes Down. What a great way to start the new CD. First CD since the Simple Mind Condition years ago, and long overdue. I cannot wait to see you guys play live, and of course for the videos as well, as we're working on a TV show for Rebel Radio, Rebel Vision. Now, Kyle, who initially called you to come back this last time? Was it Rick? Was it Bruce? How did that work out?
Actually, it was neither. It was Larry Burns.
Larry Burns.
Trouble's sound man.
He told me that. I was wondering if he was telling the truth. He did. So Larry Burns.
Absolutely the truth.
Larry Burns, the sound man, live sound engineer. He does all the studio stuff too for the most part, except for Bill Matoyer did the producing this time. But Larry Burns called you up, and he what did he do? Like fill you out, say, hey, Trouble's looking for a new singer. What did he say?
Basically, he just said, man, things are really, really not going well with the guy I got right now, and just, would you be interested in coming back if they asked you to? He said, I haven't even asked them about this. They don't even know I'm calling you. I said, man, I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is yes, no matter what.
Cool.
My only question would be, why didn't I get the call before?
Yeah.
I had already worked with them, which I explained to you guys why.
Yep.
That way. So, I wasn't angry about anything per se, but I was curious more than anything.
But it all works out in the end.
They called me, and I guess maybe within a month, 2 months, I did talk with Rick and Bruce, and we had discussed, what their situation was with their current singer, and what the ramifications would be for me, what it would take for me to be involved. So, we just kind of laid our cards on the table and said, this is what needs to happen for me, this is what needs to happen for me, and they said, well, man, why don't we just make a killer record and see what happens? And I'm all about that, so.
And all the hard work's about to start paying off. July 16th, the new Trouble, the Distortion Field, hit stores, digital downloads, CDs in the stores. Support this band. Do not go out there and burn it for free, which is pretty much killing the music industry, right, Kyle?
Well, I guess that's probably safe to say. I know the benchmark for a successful album is a pittance of what it used to be back in the late 80s, early 90s when Exhorter started. So, yeah, I know it just is what it is, and Lord knows we've probably all been guilty of it. But if it's a band you really care about, man, it really would benefit everybody to just throw up a few bones and help them out for the long haul. But on the flip side, the worst thing that can happen if it gets burned is it's free publicity. So,
and they'll probably come to the show,
but it does work.
And they'll come to the show and buy tickets and buy the T-shirts. Tons of killer new Trouble merch I'm seeing as well: hats, shirts, patches, all that good stuff, which will be available at shows. When is the show starting? Is it going to be late summer, or have you heard anything yet? For shows?
Again, I'm not terribly sure, to be honest with you. We've spoken about it, and it's been discussed, but we really haven't put a definitive answer on what we're doing and when. So right now, the main goal has been let's focus on getting this album finished, sounding great, and available for people to hear. And I guess we'll just cross the bridges as they come.
Cool. Now, when you did your vocals, did you do it? Did you come to Chicago and do it? Where did you guys record the vocals at?
I recorded the vocals actually right around the corner from my house at DDTstudio with a dear friend of mine, David Treadway. He's a great engineer, and basically when I was demoing stuff, I've got a 4-track. It's crude. It's a cassette deal, and I did the first
old school
3 songs on that thing, and it's horrendous, and I ended up taking it over to Jason Portera from Pitts vs. Press to convert it to MP3 so I could email it off to him. And then finally, somehow I talked to Dave, and he's like, man, why don't you just come over here and track a couple of the songs and see what happens? And so I did, and it sounded really, really good. So when they heard it, they were like, man, where'd you record this? I was like, you'd die if you knew. A living room, less than a half a mile from my house, Dave's got a home studio, and he's got a studio room specifically for his studio, yes, but we recorded it in there, and it sounds phenomenal. It sounds great. It's some of the best sounding vocals I've ever been involved with, and you got to give him credit for that. So we basically submitted everything to everybody who would have their thumbs up or down on it, and everybody was like, yeah, we'll record them there.
Are those the pictures on your Facebook page from that studio?
Yeah, that's over at DDTstudio.
I was checking them out last night about 3 in the morning. Cool. Now we're going to play another song, and thanks to Rick Wartell for letting us do this, 'cause I thought we were playing one song today. This is awesome. We're going to play 3 songs from the new CD, The Distortion Field, and they're going to be in heavy rotation right here at rebelradio.com. So if you miss them now, or if you got friends who missed this, tell them, tune in to rebelradio.com. You'll be hearing trouble left and right. The next song we're going to play is called Paranoia Conspiracy, track 2 from the new CD, The Distortion Field. What is that song about, Kyle?
Which one? That's something out the window.
No problem. Paranoia.
Which one?
Track 2.
Conspiracy?
Paranoia Conspiracy.
That's probably another one that's subject to interpretation to the individual. But, let's just say that everybody's been through an experience in their life where they've been involved in something that means a lot to them and feel like they've been wronged or...
This is rebelradio.com.
Thinks that they're being double-crossed or wronged, and, sometimes it's just best to let sleeping dogs lie,
Or write a song about it.
Exactly.
All right, we're back with Kyle Thomas, lead vocals from Trouble. This song is Trouble, Paranoia Conspiracy, another worldwide debut right here on rebelradio.com.
What everybody says you're doing to me. Say
RebelRadio.com, the worldwide debut of New Trouble there, Paranoia Conspiracy, and debuting it with me is none other than the one and only Kyle Thomas on vocals. Of course, you play guitar, too, with Floodgate and other bands as well, too, right, Kyle?
I guess you could call it that.
But Trouble is just vocals, right?
Yeah, I do play guitar when I'm around
Floodgate.
There's like Rick and Bruce, perhaps. I would not want to admit that.
But Floodgate, I remember seeing Floodgate live, and you guys were playing guitar. And the cool thing about Floodgate was you had different vocals. How many? 3 lead vocalists in that band? Seemed like it.
Yeah. It's probably the only original band I've ever been involved with where there was that much vocal going on besides me. That it was great because it's my brother and Stephen Fisher and Neil Montgomery, the drummer, actually can sing well. We never did work it out with him singing a whole lot, but we were able to pull off 3-part harmonies or just the big sounding choruses. And I really do hold a lot of pride close to my heart with that project for that reason alone, that we were able to actually get out there and just make it sound good with the 3 guys up front singing vocals.
On this new CD, Bruce flew out to New Orleans and sang backup with you, right? Bruce Franklin?
Yeah, he did, and he actually did in One Life. He did some stuff in the pre-chorus that I actually helped him map it out production-wise. I don't think he'd ever really done anything that extreme vocally in the studio before, at least not with the Trouble song, and it's funny because he had this brilliant idea in his head, and when we first started working on it, he got into it and was like, man, this is not easy. I said, I know, so let me do what I can to help you lay it out there, and we did a few passes on it, and man, it just sounds so good. With the way we've got it, we've got my vocals down the middle, and his vocals are panned out and in harmony, and it just sounds gigantic. It's great. I love it.
Cool. Hey, like you said before, he's got such a great pitch. He knows from guitar to vocals to whatever. Bruce Franklin is right on it when it comes to in key, Yeah,
what he would do is, like, he would send me tracks of him singing the songs that he was writing, and I'd hear it and I'd start doing something to it, and he's like, well, no, that sounds good, but this is a little bit more of what I was thinking. And I'm like, I thought I was doing that. And he's like, no, it's close, but listen a little bit, you're a whole step up here, and you need to be a half a step up instead. And I said, man, you're right, and it sounds so much better. And
cool.
He sat down and was very patient with if he didn't think something was right, it wasn't no, do it again. We really worked well together in the studio, and
cool.
I enjoyed it. And I think Bruce is absolutely 100% a quality guy.
Oh yeah.
From top to bottom, not just musically, but as a person.
The New Trouble, the Distortion Field. Now, at first I heard it would be called the Dark Riff. When did it get changed to the Distortion Field? Do you know?
I think somewhere in my involvement it became the Distortion Field. I did not come up with that name. I think it might have been
Rick
that came up with that name.
I think so. Rick Wortell.
The Dark Riff. I was not a big fan of the Dark Riff when I first heard it.
Sounds like a Batman movie. You guys could did the soundtrack for the next Batman movie.
Good Lord. Godzilla up in here.
This is RebelRadio.com. Scott Davidson, joined by lead singer Kyle Thomas from the band Trouble. You got a million other bands, too. Off the air, you were telling about a project with Ralph from Deicide, and he played Iced Earth. What's that one called?
That's called Devil's Highway. It's a brilliant project. We've got Steve DiGiorgio on bass.
Testament.
Tony Laureano on guitar. We had Jack Owen on guitar as well. Cannibal Corpse. Deicide. I mean, these are really some heavy-hitting names that have been involved. What we started that project out as, I met Ralph and Jack when I was out on tour with Alabama Thunder Pussy supporting Obituary, and Ralph and I hit it off right off the bat. Funny guy, super talented, and we can talk about things till the day is long, and we've developed a really close friendship, and we write well together. So we went overseas with a project called Death Metal All-Stars to Japan, and what we did was we just played a compilation of Deicide, Obituary, Death, Exorder, Black Sabbath, threw a little bit of that in there too. Just kind of have some fun and make a little money. And when we were there, we were like, man, we really have a killer band here. So we came home and Ralph and Jack started writing with Tony, and because Steve's out in California and I'm here in Louisiana, and we started demoing, and it just really came to be something fantastic. In fact, we recorded vocals there at DDTstudio with David Treadway as well. And like I said, when people get that out there, we don't have it out there yet, but we're working on it, and it will eventually happen. You get guys like me and Ralph together, and we can do some amazing things, and it can take 7 years to make it happen. So it's just, I keep thinking about going to get tested for ADD, but I keep forgetting to make an appointment,
This is RebelRadio.com talking to Kyle Thomas, and I know it's the 3rd of July, so where are you going tonight with the family, Kyle?
Oh, let's see. Actually,
fireworks?
My sons just went off with their mother for the evening, and I've got an errand to run, and probably go have some quality time with the wife somewhere.
Watch some fireworks somewhere, maybe?
Oh.
No?
When anytime I'm with me.
Cool. The new CD is called The Distortion Field. It is Trouble. We're talking to Kyle Thomas live on the phone line all the way from Nolens. And we're going to play one last Trouble song before we let you go. We might have lost Kyle, as I think he had another phone call. But anyways, thanks to Kyle Thomas for calling in. We have one last Trouble song from the new CD, The Distortion Field. This song is called Butterflies, right here. Another worldwide debut of brand new Trouble on RebelRadio.com. It's Trouble, Butterflies. Crank it up. Thanks to Kyle Thomas for calling live right here on RebelRadio.com. RebelRadio.com, brand new Trouble, another worldwide debut. This song is called Butterflies. We got cut off on the phone from Kyle Thomas, but he is back. How you feeling there, Kyle?
I'm doing well, man.
Excellent.
I'm great, thank you.
Great job on this new release, the Distortion Field. 13 great tracks, and I can't wait for the world to hear this CD.
Yeah, we're
no BS.
Ready. They've got to be even more ready than me because I've only been in the picture since February of last year. So this project's been ongoing for them for much longer than that. So yeah, we're definitely all eager for everyone to be able to get their hands on this.
I like the fact that you really show Eric Wagner respect in interviews and live on stage and in the song. It's cool. You're a fan, too.
I'm a Trouble fan, so why on earth would I have anything bad to say about Eric? I love Eric. I think his vocals are great, and I've always been a big fan of Trouble since the early 80s, mid 80s, so, you know. It was Jim Bauer that turned me on to Trouble. So
Jimmy Bauer from COC, I Hate God.
I'm a fan.
So Jimmy Bauer, what did he turn you on to? Which album was it of Trouble?
It was the first thing that I ever heard. The first stuff that I heard was off of the first album. It was like, you know, the Captain stuff on college radio.
Psalm 9.
But I sat down in the car with Jim one night, and I think he put on Come Together and then Thinking of the Past, and it was just like, holy crap. So it was right up the alley that we both came down. So.
Excellent. Kyle, it's great talking to you. Thanks for taking time out of your day to talk to RebelRadio.com. Good luck with the album and the band. What do you want to say to your fans here in Chicagoland and in the world on RebelRadio.com?
Thanks for the opportunity to do an album with Trouble, and you know, I hope everybody likes it. And if you're skeptical about it, give it a listen first. If you had missed what we just listened to, then give it a listen when it comes out, and be open-minded about it. And if you don't dig it, I understand. Otherwise, you know, we're just going to keep on moving forward and writing more stuff.
The website is newtrouble.com. They have a Trouble Facebook page, all that good stuff. Check it out. We're going to play one more song here. Since we got cut off last time when we were talking before we played Butterflies, we're going to play Sink or Swim. What's that song about, Kyle?
Oh, wow. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's the daily grind, the rat race. It's if you don't swim, you're sinking. Nothing more to it. It's not rocket science.
Kyle, thank you very much for calling in. Have a great 4th of July, and we'll hopefully see you soon, buddy.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Talk to you later. Here's another worldwide debut. It's Trouble, Sink or Swim on RebelRadio.com.